agenda here for us.
Sorry,
So welcome everyone to the Abraham Lincoln version of the Windham County Genealogy Interest Group meeting. Happy birthday, Abe. So if you'd like to use the chat window to introduce yourself, please do, so everybody knows who's here. Besides our regular Vermont people, we have people from Missouri, California, Virginia, and North Carolina joining us today. I'm sure with Vermont roots. So we're going to start off our session with Wayne, who will be doing a short session on AmericanAncestors.org, and then I'll do a little thing on land research for genealogy, and we'll have throw it open for a genealogy discussion. You can ask questions. We can try to answer them, or the group can address them as well. And then we've already figured out a topic for the next meeting, which we believe will be the first Saturday in April, which is April 2nd. And do people know what's happening on April 1st besides the April Fool's Day?
I do, but it's not a good thing.
Go ahead, take a guess.
I know, but it's not fun.
So on April 1st, the 1950 census will be released from the National Archives. So we thought, well, why not? Let's jump right into it. And we'll be taking a look at that and doing some searches, which, that it won't be immediately indexed. So the way that you will be able to get into it is through enumeration districts. So we'll do a little research for that, and that'll be our topic for Saturday, April 2nd. So let me stop my share. And I'll just turn it over to Wayne.
Okay, welcome everybody. Just to follow up on what Jerry was just saying, if you don't know already or haven't enrolled in it, the Family Search big conference called Rootstech is also, it's happening in March.
Right.
Just wanted to double check the date, March 3 through 5. And of course, one of the things they're going to feature is this 1950 census. I mean, they have hundreds of workshops, but
Right.
I got an email from them just saying that they would have how to use it, how to find your relatives in the 1950 census and so on. So there are workshops going on there in March, and then hopefully we can pull something together for April 2nd. We don't know what we'll be able to see at that point. Excuse me about the voice. Anyway, so that's coming up. If I spend a lot of time on this American Ancestors website. If you've been here before, I'm working on a book project that basically covers from about 1639 to the early 1800s. So I'm looking for descendants of my first Blanchard ancestor. So I spent a lot of time on that, and they American Ancestors, not too long ago, November, December, somewhere in there, came out with a whole new version of their website. To begin with, some things didn't really work quite right, which I guess is par for the course for new websites, but everything seems to be working now. So what I thought I would do is just go through some of the things that are on here. If you've used it in the past, they've rearranged some of the things on there, I guess, to refresh the website. And one of the things they've done is take all of their various other websites that are part of the New England Historical and Genealogical Society and put it under this one umbrella in this new website. So now I want to try to share the screen. And Firefox and share. So this is now their main, their opening web page, and of course, the items on here change. You know, as you can see, they're highlighting. Well, this month, the free webinar on African American ancestors in New England. One of their online courses. One of their benefit gala events. So anyway, everything that, you know, new things that are happening in the society are featured on the homepage here. Just to quickly scroll down. I haven't seen this book yet, this 6th edition of the Genealogical Handbook for New England, but I use the earlier version frequently, so I may need to take a look at that. And then if you like what you hear today and you want to find out more about it, they actually are, you know, they have a whole presentation that you can go through from, you know, directly from the folks at American Ancestors. What I want to do is go through, I mean, the main point of, for me anyway, of this website is to search through their databases. So just a few facts here that I've pulled out. They have 471 databases that contain 1.4 billion names. Of those, 216 are unique databases to American ancestors. And those include such things as this, their primary research journal is called the Register, and that goes back to around 1845, 46, somewhere in there. And they do have other journals that are digitized and available in there to search. There's the American Genealogist, the Mayflower Descendant, Vermont Genealogy. Those journals are all unique to this website. The other thing that I've found particularly useful because of the work, the research I've been doing, is the Massachusetts probate file papers. It's not every county in Massachusetts, but for me, you know, they have, especially for me, the early Eastern ones like Essex and Middlesex. Those are really valuable databases. And they also have lineage society and membership applications, such things as the Society for Colonial Wars in Massachusetts, the Mayflower Descendants, people that join the Mayflower Society in their early, their applications are there, which has to include a family tree in order to even to get in. And some of the early membership applications for the society itself evidently also included genealogies. So the focus on the website is primarily records in the US, but they do have records from other countries. But, you know, I mean, the focus is going to be on the United States and particularly the Northeast. All 50 states are included in various databases. And so I want to take a look at, go to search here. On the search page, they've split it into two parts here, which is kind of interesting. I primarily have used this you know, searching these billions of names that they have here. But their new search, you can also search by content. And so I wanted to show that a little bit. Let's just start here just so we can see what's available. So, and this is, as it says, and I'll try to illustrate that in a minute. It's the search box. You can put in, you can search by name, by place, and you know, a variety of ways. You can search by specific journals, for example, even within there. But you will also you'll come up directly with people's names. The search by content is a little different. It's instead of coming up with just specific names, it's coming up with manuscripts, book titles, article titles, other, you know, websites. So it's a little different way to search through their whole website here. You can, I'm going to come back to these, but just to give you an overview, the database A to Z, it just lists alphabetically all of their databases. They do have for members, some of those, by the way, are searchable even with you can get a guest subscription to the American Ancestors website. And some of these databases are available for basically for free. For membership, for people that are members, and obviously they're trying to encourage you to join. There's external databases. There are some, I found in the past, some useful newspaper databases in there. Usually pretty early newspapers, you know, like the 1800s. You can search the library catalog. And within that catalog, sometimes there are links so that you could actually, especially for books that are already online, sometimes they've created a link so that you can literally open the book and read it online. And then they have their digital library and archives, which includes things from this Jewish Heritage Center, the Special Collection Center, and the Research Library. So anyway, these are the various contents under search. So I thought what I wanted to do is just illustrate searching by content. So let's go here. And then you can basically type any keyword in there. You know, so for example, if you were interested, if you had ancestors that you think you can trace back to the Mayflower, you could just type in Mayflower here. And it will come up with, it does come up with links to database, some of the databases, like the membership application. The Mayflower Descendant is a journal. The 5th generation descendants are, these are what they call this, all the books have a silver colored cover, so they call them the silver books. What researchers have found 5 generations of descendants of Mayflower people, which kind of makes it easier when if you're trying to, especially if you're interested in connecting to them, joining them. But there are also, if you see over here on the right, there are articles, there are various products that that are available. So in other words, it's not taking you directly to a person necessarily, it's telling you which databases, which articles, those kinds of things that are available. Let me just try a couple of the searches here. For example, just type in the name of a place. Oops. So I have spent a lot of time looking at records in Andover, Massachusetts. So if I just search on Andover, again, it comes up with, sometimes it's a database, sometimes it's a book. There are finding aids, and in other words, it's telling you over here what are some of the things that you can find just by searching this area. Cemetery records. Now you have to be careful. I typed in Andover because I was looking for Andover, Massachusetts, but of course there's also an Andover, Vermont. So you get that this early settlers book. And it looks like there's probably an Andover in Connecticut. So you probably can make it more specific. Generally when I do these searches, I try to put in the least amount of information to see what I get. And then if I get too many hits, then I see how I might be able to narrow it down. You can also put in, you can also just type in a name. So if I type in a surname, put in my name. You will, here we've got a Bible record. We've got genealogies that are found in town history. So it's an article. And that one comes up pretty frequently here. A research guide, a main town guide. So it's a different way of searching through the website, and possibly could help you find, lead you in the direction of something else that you might want to explore further. Let's see, let's go back to search. This time, well, I want to show this A to Z list. So it's a little tricky sometimes here. They're typically listed by state, but if they're particular towns, for example, this Albany County, New York, you can't go just by the state because there may be other databases in here that are listed by, city or town or county. Over here on the left, you can search all of the databases. You can search only databases with images. You can also set up favorites. That's what these little stars are for, going down here. So if you have a particular set of databases that you typically want to search, you can give it a little star, and then you can tell it to search your favorites. And there is, if you have just the guest account and you click this button, you can see these are the databases that you would be able to search with just a free account. We probably should highlight this one because Jerry's responsible for it. You want to say anything about it, Jerry? The Brattleboro one?
Sure, it was just an obsession I had a couple of years ago. The library in Brattleboro has the Hydropathic Messenger, which was the periodical that Wesselhoff put out every month, and at the end of each issue, they had a list of all the people who came to the water cure in that particular month. So I thought, wow, this is great. It's in between census years. We have locations, names. So I just put everything in a spreadsheet. I typed it in a spreadsheet, and then, well, before I actually did it, I wondered about how it might be distributed. So I contacted NEHGS and asked their database manager. He said, sure, we'd love to have it. So we set up a little contract, and I did the work, and then they did the database, getting it into the database. So it's amazing. I mean, the people who came to the Wesselhoff water cure, various authors, just blanking on the names right now, but person who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, why can't I think of her name? Who is that, Wayne? Do you remember? For some reason.
I'm not
I'm
gonna be able
I'm
to help
blanking on
there.
everything. I'm having a
Harriet
senior
Beecher
moment.
Stowe. Harriet
Yes,
Beecher
thank you,
Stowe.
thank you. I was having a senior moment, you know.
Dear.
People like that. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So all of these people came to take the cure.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks.
So anyway, I mean, this is a pretty narrow database from 1845 to 1848. It's usually pretty good if you're going to look at a database to, you know, to check things like that, because if you're looking for a particular thing and it's, you know, and it doesn't even cover the years that might be that you're looking for, you know, it's not going to help you any. Let's see if I can back up to. Okay, so there are various categories of databases here, so you can narrow it down. Like if you're looking for court, land, or probate records, you know, click on that category. Census records, journals and periodicals. Yeah, the other thing I guess I should point out is it does pop up with, you can either narrow down the number of results per page, or you can expand it from either 20, 50, or 100. So in this case, there are only 45 free databases. So now in terms of search, if you actually, this top button on this page takes you right to the search box. Again, like I said, it's generally better to put fewer things in here than more. Particularly years is deceptive, because sometimes the years do not refer to the person, they refer to when something was published. So that one can kind of be a problem. But you can search by place, or if you, or you could search through a specific journal article by just popping open this box and say you wanted to search through the American Ancestors magazine. You know, you could search just a specific database that way, which I do frequently. So to give you an example, let's say I want to find what there is for Blanchards in Peacham. So with just, this is an overall search, so it's including census records. A lot of census records pop up here. If I want to try to narrow it down, I can do vital records. And then that's giving me birth. Well, to start with birth, marriage, death records, and so on. And then you can drill down even further. You can go to the specific, to a person, and then you can actually see the, I love the one with images so that I could go in and check and see that in person. It also gives you an easy way to edit things. You can go back to see all the results. You can then refine the search, and then you know, from there add or delete things. So let's see. You know, we could spend a lot of time on search. I thought I should try to give you kind of a quick overview of things here. So going back to search, let's see. Okay, let's. I do want to, like I said, I want to give a quick overview, and then I could go back and do some searches. Well, so search. like I said, the two main ways they're nicely laid out here on the website, and then there are the other things that you can search the actual catalog, the digital library, and so forth. So there's other ways to come in basically to get to the same place. Events, I guess, is pretty straightforward. It's talking about upcoming events. You can see all events that they're offering. Membership is pretty obvious. If you want to join the society, go there. If you want to donate to the society, you go to give. Oh, I know. I wanted to just give you one other example under search. So under that search I did for Peacham, I did that earlier, and then you can. So this is. If I back up a little bit. So this is a page of a church record in Peacham, Vermont. And what was helpful to me here was that not only does it tell you, I mean, this record is going back. It gives you the date basically when they joined the church, but over here it also, I was particularly interested in finding this Peggy Blanchard, and it also helped very helpfully, told me that she's the wife of Simon Blanchard. And over here to the right, it tells me when she died and how old she was. So anyway, and it's a record that if I just you come about these things in various ways. I would not have thought about searching for this particular database. I mean, this is in the digital library and archives, and I normally go through the searching by name and not through this digital archive. So I guess it's probably a note to myself, but I think it may happen to all of us, is that we kind of get into a pattern of how we do a search, and it's sometimes helpful to expand that a little bit and see what other kinds of documents might be available that help you solve a problem. In this case, I needed to confirm her when she died. Okay, so if I could go back to search. Okay, just to quickly kind of run through some of the other things that you can do on the website. So publications, they publish a lot of stuff for the society here. The Great Migration Project is early. It basically covers, well, 1620 to 1640 is what that project focuses on. Early New England research kind of follows up on that. It's looking for people who were married before the year 1700. So that's quite a few people. The American Ancestors Magazine is here. The Register, as I said, is their main journal. They also publish the Mayflower Descendant. That's another journal. Unfortunately, that has an additional fee, I believe. Weekly Genealogist is free. They'll send out an email to you with that, and their blog posts are free. And you can sign up to get new database alerts if something new is added to their website. You could get an alert that it's there. Expert help, I guess, is pretty obvious. Most of these require a fee, although I think you can chat with a genealogist online. The others, obviously, if you're hiring a researcher or a genealogist for the day, there would be fees involved. And they can get you photocopies, though I have not had much luck personally with that. But I guess probably mainly I didn't keep bugging them about it. Under tools. So I wanted to highlight this. They have a you can upload, well, you can create it online, or you could upload a GEDCOM file and create your own family tree. I've not done a lot with this. I did upload mine. Just I always like to have a backup copy, and so this gives me a way to give a backup copy. It's pretty much like a lot of other online trees. The little green dots here indicate that there are other that there are hints that you can follow up on, similar to the way Ancestry works. Ancestry's got the little leaf next to a person. This one gives you, well, it tells you the number of hints. In this case, there's one hint for the people in this generation. Okay, back to, so anyway, the tree, it's there are different levels of use of the tree. I have the free version here. You can get a little more help with things with their different levels of well, just like their membership, there's different levels of membership. There's different levels of joining the tree, the ancestry trees, ancestries. Research guides. This could be helpful to folks if it opened up. It's trying. Anyway, here we go, research guides. So basic getting started, getting organized, using genealogical software. Research topics, these are by subject. Connecticut research, French Canadian. And as you can see, doing Irish research and so on. I mean, there's a lot of helpful research guides that are available there. Again, you can get a free guest account and you should be able to see these guides. The same with their video library. They have they put out a lot of videos that they do sort of similar to what we're doing. They'll do a talk, they'll record it, and then they put it up on their website. Just briefly, their signature projects. I mentioned the Great Migration. This one, the GU 272 is the Georgetown University basically sold their slaves to save the university, and this is a project to identify the descendants of those people who were enslaved. Mayflower is another one of their big projects, and they have an ongoing thing here with digitizing Catholic church records. I've not used this Ancestor Strong. Early New England research has been helpful to me, and these are interviews. Antiquario it's an interview program, like a podcast. And then over here we have final thing. The various parts of the things that they're involved in, initiatives they're involved in. I don't know if you watch the show Finding Your Roots, the researchers there at the society are the primary people doing the research for that show, and I guess part of it is filmed there. Okay. Let's see. Just wanted to see if there was anything else. Well, why don't I stop there and let me stop the share. So
Yeah, we have
I don't
some,
know, any
have
other
some que-
comments or questions?
yeah, we have some questions in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Wayne, yeah.
I don't see the chat.
So,
What is it?
well, first one is, what's an example of a product? So I think you answered that by showing, this was in earlier in on your,
An example of what?
of a product. I
Oh,
think that's probably, that was earlier on your, Michael, do you want to explain that a little bit more, or was that question answered?
No, that's fine.
Is that good? Okay.
okay.
And then James Howard has a question about Boolean operators. Does it use Boolean? Do you know?
Well, let me see. I mean, you can. No, I don't remember you having to use like either or, that kind of thing.
Yeah, or an
Or
and. I think it's an implied. I think it's an implied
it-
or when I've used it.
The yeah, it'll.
Good
Well, you
question.
can narrow. Well, if if you add things to that search, that main search screen,
It narrows.
it will. You can narrow it down. Yeah.
It limits. Okay, so it's using and then probably.
So let me just share the screen one again here. So if you go to search, if you type, if I type in, well, just start with what if I was only looking for a person, a name, and a place. But if you, let's say I add a first name here, I mean, it's going to give me one record. So
yeah, it's limiting.
It's limiting it. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't come out and tell you that, but
I was thinking more on the A to Z databases. So if you put in
yeah.
Albany, New York, do you just get all of Albany and all of New York, or do you get Albany, New York itself?
just
If you put
that one
Albany, not
database. Yeah.
Vermont, for instance.
So if I
Good question.
if I go to if you choose this website, you're going to go just to this.
I think what he meant, Wayne, up in the search statement.
Whoop, wait a minute. I'll back up.
Yeah. Go back to search by database name. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah. Go to the upper right where it says search by
Yeah.
database name. Can you?
Oh, you
link-
can search.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here I think you're just searching through, looking for, because there's like 485 of them. You can either scroll through them all page by page, or I guess you could search for one.
If you put Albany, Vermont, what would happen? It's just going to limit, right?
Yeah, see, Albany is only going to give you,
Yeah, it's just searching the titles.
Okay.
it's just searching through the titles.
Yeah, by keyword. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, if you put in Vermont,
46.
it does give you, some of the smaller databases that are just the towns.
Mhm.
And census records, obviously.
If you put in Dorset, Vermont, what would it bring up? Just Dorset, or Dorset and all of Vermont?
Nothing.
So,
remember, there's only some of these are pretty unique little databases.
yeah, I think it's just looking in the title.
So
field.
it's this here, yeah, it's just so you can get to the database itself.
Yeah.
Once you're in a database, like if you go to
Yeah, then you can do a Boolean. Yeah.
I managed to expand my screen, which I did not want to do. Well, go back to the start. You go to search. You can also choose these databases here in the search box. You know, so for example, if you wanted to search in I mean, this is one this is a wide-ranging one with vital records, and then here you could probably still put in Dorset, and then it's giving you 13,215.
Mhm.
But it may no, it's okay. It's got Dorset there,
Right.
so that should narrow it down by location. But again, you're searching only just this one database. I mean,
Right.
it's an extensive database. It covers, 1700 to 2008. Were there other questions?
Yeah, there's, Jim also had one about the ancestries. Can people change those trees as they might on Family Search? I think they're private, right? I mean, only you can, only you can
Yeah,
fiddle.
well, I think you can share it with other people,
You can
but
share it, right?
I've not, like I said, I've kind of only used that as a backup.
Right.
I've not done a lot to actually change anything there, but
Yeah,
you can go in and just add because you can go into you can see a profile of the person, spouse and children, parents. It's set up very similar to like Ancestry, for example. But I have not tried to, like you can edit it here.
Is it, you could just import a GEDCOM file?
But what I did was
Yeah, okay,
I have my primary
right.
database on my computer, and then I just uploaded a GEDCOM just as kind of a second way to store the information.
Does it take media if you have media embedded in your I don't think, does GEDCOM do media? I can't remember now. Yeah.
There may be a way to do that. I haven't, but you're kind of limited. The free version only gives you a limited number of images.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you still can put in quite a few.
Yeah.
But media, let's see what it says here. Oh, I have no media.
Yeah. So it probably,
I didn't upload
does.
that.
Yeah.
But they're in there. Let's see if I can find it. That's not what I wanted to do. Go back over here. Go to ancestors. So if you go to here, so see if you're a cheapie like me and you only do the free version, you can do 500 photos.
Oh, that's pretty good.
2 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And then if you pay $20 a year, you can do 1,000. If you pay $35 a year, you can do 100 gigabytes. You can do 50,000.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay.
So
we,
anyway, let me stop this.
I just want to mention that, so the free version, you get limited access to those databases, but if you wanted to search the full version, and once Brooks starts opening up for longer periods of time, Brooks Library in Brattleboro has a subscription to American Ancestors, and you can use their Wi-Fi connection to search the full.
And as far as I know, Rockingham also.
Okay, that's good. And I think that Dover Library had one a few years ago. I don't know if they still maintain it or not, but many libraries all over the states do that. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and do my little song and dance here. So I'm going to stop my video so I can share my screen better. And actually, I'm going to upload a a little resource list that you can you know, print out later if you want, that has links and so forth to some of the things I'll be talking about today. So let's see if I can find it easier here. Okay, let's see. All right, it'll be a PDF file. And if you just click on that on the chat, you can open it up, but it'll sort of correspond to my talk a little bit. So here, let me, okay. Okay, hopefully you're seeing a slide there. If you're not, let me know. Everything okay, Wayne?
Yeah, I can see it, Jerry.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so this will be sort of a quick and dirty overview of land record research. So why do it? It's land records go back further than any other genealogical records that we have. And apparently, going beyond the United States, there are land records available in Denmark that go back to 900, I'm sorry, not 1900, but 900 AD. And the US land records exist from the early 1600s. So, and those would include the early colonial grants and military land bounties. They can be used to identify people, age, spouse, heirs, other relatives, neighbors, and those relationships among the people where the other earlier records do not or do not even exist. Nearly 90% of males own property in the early years of the Republic and before. So those males were identified in these land records. And they provide locations for people, where they lived, when they moved, their occupation, military experience, naturalization records, and some other seemingly unrelated records that you may not expect to find. Okay, so so some basic land record terminology. I think many of you are familiar with this. Land patents, transfer of land from government to individual. The grantor, when you come into a land record, is the land seller. The grantee is a land purchaser. There are deeds that document the transfer of property from one party to another. A deed of trust, which is a deed to the trustee to secure the properties, usually made up of three parties. The person mortgaging, the lender, and the party that holds the property until the mortgage is paid. We've all had experience with that. Warranty deed, the grantor warrants the good title of the property, and a quick claim deed, which is a deed that releases the claim of the property. There are other terms that you'll see in documents. You'll see sometimes the word seized, which means legally owning and possessing real property. A dower, it's a wife's interest in her husband's property, inheritable after death. You'll see words like relict, which means a surviving widow, or consort, a deceased wife of a surviving husband. And there are also land descriptors, a township, which is a piece of land that is 6 miles on each side, which contains 36 square miles of land. Section, land's a piece of land within a township that's usually 640 acres, or 1 square mile. You'll see items referred to as tract books, which are books used to track the sale and purchase of individual pieces of property, from the first transfer of the property from a government or sovereign to the current owner. And meets and bounds system. Meets and bounds It's a method of surveying land that uses compass directions and distances from one boundary to another. So you'll see these things when you come up across some land documents. Okay, what are the sources? We have genealogical databases like ancestry.com and familysearch.org. And as Wayne mentioned, you'll come across it in American Ancestors. There's a town clerk and county court offices where you actually go physically to look at these items. And many of these are coming online as well, which we'll see with electronic property record databases. And then finally, you have the United States Bureau of Land Management General Land Office that controlled all the public lands in the US that were granted to individuals, starting with the Treaty of 1787 to the big one that we're all familiar with, the Homestead Act of 1862, which populated many of the Western lands. So the land record resources, this is from the Family Search Wiki with basic information. That'll be on my resource list. Really, really helpful starting point for doing land research. You'll be able to get links to these items that are on the left here, the early record types of items, which are links, record types, which are the case files, deeds, grants to states, head rights, homestead, etc. And then the various topics, which will give you links to what's listed there. And then links to the actual individual states, the federal land states and the state land states. The state land states were basically the 13 original colonies and states, and then some that were added afterwards, including Vermont, New Hampshire. And these states retained the land that was part of their colonial heritage, while the federal land states all came into existence after the United States became a sovereign nation, and those are the land that was given to individuals either through military or for settlement purposes. Okay, so using the local land record research and the Family Search catalog. So the first thing you do is when you go to that, make sure you get a free account there, which is easy to do. And you go to the search function of the catalog. Just type in, for instance, I'll use example Vermont, and you'll pick United States Vermont. What'll happen is that it will bring you to United States Vermont, and you'll get places within the United States Vermont, and I chose Windham County. So when I did that, you get a list of all the towns in Windham County. So let's click on one of them, and you guessed it, we're going to look at Brattleboro. Brattleboro's has a link to one land and property record, which is the deeds and land records from 1783 to 1871, plus their indexes. So when you go to that record, you will see the sort of the catalog record, and then below everything are the microfilms that have been digitized. And primarily there are three items that I have selected to look at. There's a index from the A to Z, starting from the beginning there to 1871, and then another index, part 2, from 1869. I guess there's some overlap to 1903. And then you get the land records themselves with the various volumes, so you can look at those things. So I just picked one to look at, and forgive me if you can't read it very well, but basically this is a mortgage deed from George A. Parker and Lena, his wife. There you go. It's already established a relationship to identify of some land that they purchased for $350 to the full satisfaction of the Vermont Savings Bank. So the Vermont Savings Bank is holding the mortgage, and it goes on to tell you where this land is located in Brattleboro. And then, as you can see, it also gives you the abutters to the land. So then you actually get names of the neighbors. So you have Fred R. Rorman, east of the land of John Herbert, south by the Brook Highway with the buildings thereon comprising the lands conveyed to said George Parker, by deed from Anna Rorman. So it tells you how he got it. And then it goes on to say where that deed is in book 37. So it actually gives you another place to look for more information. Another part of the deed will give you information as well about some of the details of that deed, and the people who signed it and the witnesses. So you have witnesses who may or may not be relatives of the purchaser, or at least neighbors or friends. And then there's something you see in the left-hand margin there, and that is actually, I know it's too blurry for you to read, but it's actually when George and his wife paid off the note. And this was paid off on April 5th, 1917, which was actually 10 years later. I forgot to mention that this originally was taken out in 1907. So the deed has shown that it was the mortgage was paid off in 1907. Okay, next let's look at another town, and I wanted to look at Dummerston. So these are deeds from the Family Search database again. I just went back to the Dummerston link and pulled up this one. So these are deeds from 1781 to 1901, and 1886 has an index, and there's the index there. So I pulled up that index because I wanted to see if the Kipling property was listed, and sure enough, as many of you, especially from Vermont, know, that the Nobel Prize winning British author Rudyard Kipling I said Brattleboro, but it was really Dummerston, from 1892 to 1896. And here is a transaction from Carolyn Kipling, his wife, to Mary R. Cabot. I think many of you may be familiar with Mary Rogers Cabot. She was a distinguished historian of the early 20th century, wrote the Annals of Brattleboro, the 2-volume work of the major history of Brattleboro, and some other work. So that purchase was mentioned here in book number 19, page 396. Well, I went looking for that record and it wasn't there. They hadn't digitized it. So I decided I was going to go do some boots on the ground research. So I went to the Dummerston town clerk yesterday, and here are some photos of the clerk's office up in Dummerston. You can see the snow. So it was done yesterday. The little room on the right is where they had me sit down. And the bottom picture on the right is their vault, which they allowed me access to. Very nice little vault. And behind a rolling shelf were the books that I was going to look at. So I pulled out volume 17, and I found page 390 something, whatever it was there. And here's the deed. I mean, it's unbelievable, the handwriting. I mean, you can come across some really chicken scratch in this stuff, but these were so wonderfully done, calligraphed. And this is the deed of Carolyn Kipling to Mary Cabot. So I took out a couple of pieces of this. It's a warranty deed. So as you can see, there's Carolyn and Richard's name in it, her husband. And they are, of course, in England, because they left Dummerston some years back. And that's kind of a sordid story that's been captured in many ways, sometimes called the Vermont feud, which was a feud between Rudyard and his brother-in-law, Carolyn's brother, Beatty Ballestier. It's a very interesting story, and unfortunately, probably Kipling would have stayed here. His famous quote is, there are two places I'd rather be, Bombay or Brattleboro, and I cannot return to either place. So he was sort of driven out of the area and went back to England. But this is his location in England, Bateman's Burwash, the county of Sussex. And this is a warranty deed, which the amount was $1, basically to ensure that they hold, Carolyn holds title. And so this gives this warranty deed to Carolyn and Rudyard. And here it describes the place which she's taking ownership of, and it's all done in that language that we talked about earlier, in Dummerston, of course. And you can see that it's from the late residence of J.N. Balestier. So it was a deed that was part of his will. And B.S. Balestier, and I mentioned his name earlier, that's Beatty, or the brother of Carolyn. And so that was conveyed to Beatty, and then that went to Carolyn from Beatty on March 21st, 1892, book 17, page 427. That's when the Kiplings moved to Dummerston. And here is the witnesses. You have Elizabeth Russell and Charles Spalding. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure if we did a little bit of research in Rudyard's life, we would find out they were good friends or maybe relatives, from Etchington, Sussex. And you have Thomas Rappel, the Justice of the Peace there, who verified it on 21st of February of November, I'm sorry, 21st of November in 1903, where they both were present. And then we have an additional verification here is the mayor of Tunbridge Wells, and E. Elroy Robb. And then the whole thing was then validated in Dummerston several weeks later by the town clerk, Aidan J. or F. Miller. So there's that deed. And so I went to look for the deed in the other part, and sure enough, I come up with the estate, but right on the next page is Joseph's will. So by looking for this deed, I was able to find the will of Joseph Balestier, which was entered in the land records. So very interesting. It's a will, and it goes into every section of how he left his properties to his wife first, and to everybody, and so forth and so on. So that's just an example of how much you can find just by doing land research. So actually, I wanted to find out a little bit about what. We're not going anywhere here. Okay. Next slide. Sorry, it's not going to the next slide for some reason. Okay, there we go. So the Dummerston deed indexes today are kept in card files. So those are what we would be looking at if we were there today looking for more current deeds, and we will be able to follow up the Balestier deed transfers later on just by looking in the card index file and being referred to the books, because these have not been digitized. So the next thing I want to talk about are electronic property record databases. So many of these are coming online now. They are town clerks and county court clerks are digitizing their records, apart from Family Search and Ancestry. So I picked out 3 here that I've used. Wayne gave me a clue on this one, the New Hampshire Deeds.org. Brattleboro has its real estate property records online going back current going back to a certain time, and then this this aggregator called CoFile, and we'll look at that a little bit. So the New Hampshire property deeds are by county, and I selected Cheshire County. And the first screen you come across from Cheshire County is this scope note that gives you some information about what's covered. And in order to search it, you need to accept the disclaimer agreement. So once you hit that button at the bottom, it will bring you to a search screen, and you can do a search. So I did a search of a party that I knew had property, and this is what it looks like. So you get this interesting screen with some summary of what you're looking at. So this is a warranty deed from the Constantine Bruce's property in Chesterfield, right across from Brattleboro. And you'll see that it gives you two records. And the first one is there's that little icon there. If you click on that, it brings you to the actual document. And that document is the actual warranty deed. And it will give you information similar to what we just looked at in the last record for Carolyn Kipling. So at any rate, this tells you that it's based on a revocable trust. It gives you the date and just other information here. So if you're familiar with the Brattleboro area, if you're heading toward Keene, at that flashing yellow light, that's the stone house that I think is now the Chesterfield, New Hampshire Historical Society. So that's the deed for that. The next one is the Brattleboro Town Records, totally different interface. So don't be confused, but you just have to get used to these because they're all different. And these are documents and images that go back to January of 1945. Anything before that, you'll have to go into the Brattleboro Town Clerk's office. So I picked myself. You can search by recorded land, but most people search by name. So I threw in my name with no, designation of time period. And what you come up with is this list of documents. And so, of course, I'm familiar with these because these are this is my property that I bought myself and my wife back in 2006. So there's that's the property and the mortgage and when it was discharged. But that first line there, going back to 1999, I said, "Gee, what is that? I don't remember that buying any property then." So that's a notice. So I should mention, you'll get an image view of this, but anything that you want to print legally, you need to pay a fee. And it's produced, you can print it off there at the town clerk's office, or they'll print it off and have it mailed to you, or you go pick it up. And it can be certified, so you need a certified record. But if you just want to look at the record and make a screen print, you can do that right from your computer. So that's no problem. So at any rate, I clicked on view image, and here's what came up. It's an affidavit by me. And I said, "Oh yeah, I remember doing that back in 1999. So I was the director of the library for some time, and the library was established as a public library in 1882 by the name of the Brattleboro Free Library. And over the last 140 years, it has been known by different things. We've called it the Brooks Memorial Library because it was built by a bequest from George J. Brooks. It was known as the Brattleboro Free Library for a while. So all of these entities were all hanging out there. And so an attorney came to me and said, we need to make this, you need to sign an affidavit saying that all of these entities belong to the same one, which is now the Brooks Memorial Library. So I had to sign this affidavit. So there again, there's another record that gives you a person's name and an occupation, because I was the director of the library. So really kind of really And it was actually almost 23 years to the date. It was on February 4th, 1999 that I did this. So at any rate, the final property record database is this thing called CoFile, which I came across when I was doing some research on my own genealogy in Denver, Colorado. And I was looking for a marriage record, which the Denver County clerk has online, which was really easy to search. But then I discovered that they actually do property databases as well, and they do a lot of them. So you might be able to find one here for one that you're looking for. And so as you can see, they have a lot in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Colorado, of course, Connecticut, some New England. And I was able to find that they actually do have a number of Vermont towns. There's more than 10 here from all over Vermont. So that's the CoFile. So let me just go over a little bit of the Bureau of Land Management General Land Office. So this was established to basically transfer land from the federal government to the states or to individuals. So it consists of these colonial land transfers to settlers. And then a second phase was when the sovereign nation received lands back from the colonies. And these were the states that I was mentioning, the 13 states, which included Vermont, and they handled their own land grants. So that's how that works with colonial lands. In addition, there are over 300 laws regarding the sale of public lands in the US, which consist of over 1 billion acres of public land that have been transferred to individuals or states. So that's quite a bit of land that's owned publicly and by individuals, all started from the land that we own. I must mention here the history of the Native Americans. So we won't even go into that, what happened to them, but that's their land that was subdivided by the US. Best known of these laws is the Homestead Act of 1862, which was signed by Abraham Lincoln. We all are somewhat familiar with that, which provided homesteaders 160 acres of land if they maintained it for 5 continuous years and improved the land. That's how much of the western US was settled. And they also had the original tracts of public lands before they were given out to individuals. And these are available at familysearch.org as well as Ancestry and their site. And this is what it kind of looks like if you're looking at Family Search. The first, the yellow there is a search of the tract books, which were the original tracts of land that were given out. And then the General Land Office records below is from ancestry.com, and those can be searched there by name. And I did do that, and I put in my surname again to come up with an example. And this is my great uncle, who I knew was out in Montana and Wyoming. He was my first immigrant ancestor to come from Italy, and that was in 1892. Settled in first in Pennsylvania, then came across to Wyoming and Montana. But at any rate, he got some of this land from the federal government, and Ancestry provides a link to the GLO database. And as you can see in this, this gives you exactly where it's located: the township, the range, the aliquot, which is a system of breaking down these squares of townships and ranges and sections. And so at any rate, when you click on that, you get the actual GLO record, which tells you some other things about it. It tells you how much too. It was 320 acres of land. And it gives you all the various parts of it. And just to look at what this is here's a township grid. So this is how it was all laid out with the townships from the public land survey system. And you can see those little aliquots there are the parts of the township. And here's the actual land grant, which was to my great uncle. And it describes the land, where it's located. And as you can see, that was signed by President Woodrow Wilson. That's who was president at the time. So anyway, that sort of concludes my my presentation. The only other couple of things I want to show you, and this will be from people who are not familiar with Dummerston and Kipling, but since I was in Dummerston, I thought I'd take a little ride by Kipling's property called Nalaka, which means Jewel of India. And so you can see Kipling Road is there. I turned on that, came upon the great house of Nalaka that was built to resemble a huge sailing ship, according to what I've read. And that's Nalaka now, which is owned by the Landmark Trust, and anybody can rent a room here. It's a wonderful place. They sometimes open it up for a walkthrough. And you can see they got a beautiful view of the lands to the east and so forth. So it's probably pretty much what it might have looked like 130 years ago when the Kiplings bought it. But so that's the end of the slideshow.
So Jerry, you got a couple questions here.
Okay, hopefully I can answer them.
Janet says, several of my deeds from the land office state cash received from, and a name of a person, I guess. And so they literally handed over cash at the time of the registration. In the early 1800s to 1870s, was it always cash? She said, I've never seen a mortgage with a financial institution included in the documents I have.
Wow, I mean, it sort of makes sense, I guess, that would happen. I mean, I don't really have a good answer to that question. I tend to think not. I mean, there were banks around, and so, they might have done business in cash many times, but that'd be a good question. I would like to research that. Maybe I can come up with a more definite answer for you. If anybody else knows in the group, please say something. But
I don't.
yeah, but I'm sure you'll see all sorts of things. Who knows? There might even be cattle, and I mean, I'm sure as horrible as this seems, you might find even in the early part of the 19th century, maybe even enslaved people were used as a means of transaction. But that's a good question.
And then a question about if ever do any research into land records for the towns now under the Quabbin Reservoir in Massachusetts.
No, I haven't, but that'd be an interesting one.
I suppose they kept records. Huh?
They did, and hopefully they rescued them. You don't have to do a deep dive to get
Before they flooded.
Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, I would use Family Search, go to the Massachusetts site and look at the counties and towns to see what they are. I wonder if any American Ancestors would have some information about that.
I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be a good. We could do a little work on that and yeah. Let me make sure that we save the chat so we can get back to people on that. So yeah, people can save the chat if you want, if you'd like. I think you're able to do that. Anything else? Let's see.
Galen just says no watermarks there on the Quabbin Reservoir.
That's right. So let's see. I'm looking. Looks like Michael Bosworth. So the Kiplings purchased it from the Balestiers. So Joseph was the first of the to come here. I think he was actually from New York, and then Beatty, his son, was around for a long time. Beatty's buried up on Prospect Cemetery on South Main Street. Of course, the Kiplings are over in England.
So it'd take a bit of work, but you've come up with, some of the relationships, at least for genealogy, seem like would be the most important.
Yes, definitely. And, locations between census.
Yeah, and helps to know where they were.
Yeah, helps to know where they were. Because
Especially to look for other records.
you look at those census prior to 1850, all you have are heads of household. And you have just a description, there's a woman between the age of, 25 and 40, or, a child less than 5, you don't have any names, but, you'll find names in the deeds, hopefully. All right.
Jerry, your camera is tilted down.
Yeah.
Can't see your face anymore.
Okay. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, I was looking at the big screen, which I had my PowerPoint, so I can I'll disengage that so I can. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, do we have we can throw it open if there are no more questions, and throw it open for discussion. If anybody has, go ahead and speak if you'd like. You can be unmuted. Oh, okay, there was a question about the Homestead Act. I see here. Did it apply to Vermont? No, because I think Vermont handled its own land grants. So
Poor Vermont,
yeah,
part of the land was granted by New Hampshire and the other part was granted by New York. Sometimes it was the same piece of land. So
exactly. That's what led to the large disputes.
took a while to sort that out.
Right.
In fact, I think Vermont had to pay to join the Union
Really?
to settle things with New York.
Uh-huh. You mean in 1791? When they became a state? When they became a state, right?
Yeah, right around that. Yeah, in order to,
Yeah.
there's a lot of controversy over when Vermont joined the Union. It was, you had to establish some boundaries about what.
Yeah, that's right.
So New York still was laying claim to.
Yeah,
some of it.
I'm sure.
Probably as well as New Hampshire, but I'm pretty sure they had to pay off New York to become a state.
Right. We were Cumberland County, New York.
Yeah.
There, that's that early census, 1777, which you can find in the New American Ancestors database.
Yeah, well, I haven't used it that much, but I've run across it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, another good is The Early Settlers of Vermont by Scott Bartley, the books that he's written on early settlers. I think that's available as well to search.
Yeah, it's kind of an ongoing project. I know.
Yeah. Yes.
Continues to post new profiles
discoveries, right.
of people.
Right, and I know that
based on that.
Yeah, and if you subscribe to those the database, new databases and the weekly genealogist, those emails, you'll find out when he has new profiles. I know he just finished some for Brattleboro of the early settlers, and you can also find them on their Facebook page, on the NEHGS Facebook page as well. Yes, Michael.
I'm not sure how many other people are interested in Catholic records, but a month ago I described how my family, the Bosworth part of my background, originally Protestants, were originally Congregationalists and then Methodists, at one point became Catholic. And so I'm trying to find out from records in Connecticut, are there actual records when my great grandparents got married in the church, where my grandfather got baptized in the church or not. So I was able to find out, and so the Catholic churches don't have to have that be publicly accessible.
Yeah,
But I was able to find out the parish where this probably happened. And I emailed the parish based on their website. And they were very, very quick to respond. They actually didn't find any records. So I was a little disappointed about that, but they responded within a day of my email.
that's great.
Yeah, that was great. And I guess some of the original records are even in Latin, so somebody has to serve,
Yeah,
interpret them that way.
that's right.
So it's, I'm not sure how many parishes are give that kind of customer service but this one certainly did.
Yeah, they're very protective of their records, and they don't even have to allow people to look at them. I've done some work in Denver from the Denver Archdiocese, and I was able to get into it. I made an appointment. This was some years ago, and those records are on microfilm at least, so I was able to go through them. But Wayne, you probably know that the Catholic diocese in Massachusetts are giving their records over to American Ancestors, and they're digitizing many of the records from the churches there. I mean, that's a big project. So yeah,
there's constantly updates that I
constantly
see
updates
on
yeah.
which, parishes that they're
Right. You
finally
get alerts. So
some of
it's
them
really-
are just they digitize them, but then somebody has, pretty much volunteers, I think, are going through and transcribing them so that
right.
it's indexed and searchable.
Right. They have they do have
So-
volunteer projects. Yeah. So that's great. But some other archdioceses in other states are not quite as open about them.
Huh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I saw the one in Massachusetts there.
I know there was one in my the church I was baptized in Denver, where there was some dispute over something. So they said, okay, no more.
Really?
No more viewing of these records, because I don't know, a couple of parties came in and there was some kind of dispute over something. It's beyond me, but yeah. But I mean, I was able to get access to them from the archdiocese side. Well,
Has anybody got anything else they're working on
Yeah.
currently?
can always send us an email too if something comes up later on. You have a question, and shoot us an email. I don't know. Let's see. What's Rootstech? So you guys know how to register for Rootstech if you want to attend. I think you just get a go to the familysearch.org site and you can register there. And once you're registered, you get, there's like an email almost every day telling you who's going to be at the conference. And those are all free. They're great. Great talks. In fact, there's a couple on my resource page of talks on land records that was given at last year's Rootstech conference. So those are well
Jerry,
worth it.
just to let people, there's also Rootstech actually has its own website too.
Oh, good. You want to share that screen just real quick?
Let's see
You
if I can find it here. Whoop. Well, when I clicked on it, I guess it's just familysearch.org/Rootstech.
Okay. All right. That's
I thought
easy.
I thought it was separate, but
Yeah.
it comes up as a separate, it
Right.
looks like a separate website. That's why I was confused.
Right.
So that's March 3 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it. Now it's coming right up.
And they do list
Less than a month. Yeah. They list some of the headliners there.
They list some of the sessions or the keynote people, like as you
Oh,
said, I've been receiving emails about who some of their keynote speakers are.
There's like the top genealogists around. There's, Roberta Estes, Tom Jones, probably Michael Leclerc will probably be there. Elizabeth Schoen Mills. these are like, it's like all-star genealogists in the world today. So it's definitely worth, and then, I mean, they'll have a lot of sessions on international, doing research in Ireland, Italy, Denmark, Spain. I'm sure there'll be something, Jewish genealogy.
It's pretty extensive.
Hope they get those records digitized in the Ukraine quickly. They may be locked up for a while.
Yeah, really.
What else? I've been doing research. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna, I think you've mentioned this before, Jerry, that I was thinking about, like one of the things is that these 1950 census. But if didn't you mention that Stephen Morse website would let you find what is it called? The enumeration districts?
Yeah, enumeration districts, yeah. Yeah, you can research that. I think there'll be some other sites set up. What I've read is that this is the first time they're going to be using artificial intelligence to scan the records and index them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've developed some software to do that.
That ought to be interesting to see how that comes up.
Yeah, really.
I can barely read some of those records.
I mean, let's do a show of hands. How many of us today are going to be able to find themselves enumerated?
That's right. I should be in there this time.
I think, I was born in August 1950, so I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I may not.
You might have been missed.
I might have missed the cut once again.
I had it's I haven't been able to do any of the stuff in the library, volunteer work in the library, like it's going on 2 years now. So
yeah, I know.
But before that, I did have somebody that came in and was looking for himself in the 1940 census, and he should have been there. And he could see that his parents were there, and the time was right, even in that year, but he wasn't there. So I said, how did your mother forget that she just had a baby that time? It didn't count him.
Yeah. You want to hide him from the tax man or something. Who knows?
So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see whether it might pop up in the census or not.
Right. Here, I'll share that site. Somebody asked about Steve Morse. So here's his site. It's a really great way to search for ship manifests as well. And as you can see, he has a lot of different things here. So a lot of the past, all the different ports. And here's the census. So here's getting ready for the 1950 census, searching without a name index. So this was actually written in 2019. So you might have. He has a 1950 tutorial quiz. And here's
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, these would be good to check out. And here are the ED descriptions. So here it is, 1870, 1950, large city enumeration district. 1870, 1950, large city street finder. So like if you clicked on that, so you select a state over here. So if we went to Vermont and Brattleboro, okay, here I guess you got to know the ED number.
Oh,
so you have
I thought maybe it could help you find that, but it's like the whole. All of Brattleboro is there, then not
right. Doesn't look like you can do it. So you first have to do the ED number, I guess, and then I don't even know if that will help. But anyway,
So there's a place on there to search for the ED. I think it's right where your unified ED finder.
Yeah, you mean right, right, let's see, where am I? Right up here, you mean?
No.
Yeah,
Down below there where it says API for Unified ED Finder?
Yeah, try that one.
oh, all right, where? I'm not seeing
Down in
that.
the next category there, Jerry. Just down below, right,
In here?
right.
Oh,
right
oh,
above
sorry,
that, right
I
there.
see it, yeah.
Sorry.
My eyes were glazing, yeah.
Oh, of no use to genealogists.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think there's anything to search
Whoa.
here.
Try clicking on that Steve Morse link right below your, yeah.
Okay. Huh,
So if you, oh, I see. If you put in what you know in 1940,
oh, I see. So if you found something there, so if we did Vermont, Windham,
it's all of
That's
Windham
rare.
County.
If you don't have a city or town, you click in the light gray box to the right.
okay. It's not,
But yeah,
yeah, okay. Oh, here you go. All right. So now, all right, that gives us, it gives us links to the EDs, but that's about it, I guess. Oh, here we go. We get a map.
Huh.
Okay, well, I suppose that could be, did you guys see the map? Did it switch
We
to
can
that?
see it. Yeah, we
Okay.
can see the map.
All right. Yeah, so maybe one of these maps, so that looks like the outskirts of the town, so. Yeah, I haven't come across the actual where there are, but I mean, there are roads here. Okay, they're dwellings, they show the dwellings, but there are no addresses. Oh, there's the Whetstone Brook, that's where I live. Huh,
there's another way to go into this, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not doing it at the moment, but you can work it down to one actual ED.
I
Oh,
just
okay.
put the link in the chat.
Oh, you put it
Oh,
in there?
okay,
Thanks.
let's see, what do you got?
Because it seemed like we would need to know where a place was in like the 1940 census in order to find,
Yeah,
it by place in the 1950.
right. All right, is this where we were?
Yes,
Okay,
and that's the place where you do this work. And usually that the city or town shows up in the city or town box, state,
right,
county,
okay.
city or town.
I wonder if Vermont is,
then-
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, then when you've got a town, that house number and street number are not blocked out.
Oh.
And you fill in the number and then the street. And then it asks you to look at a Google map and get that's embedded and get the
Okay.
cross streets. So it narrows it down to one actual ED based on these cross streets.
Okay.
And so then you've got the ED.
Okay, here we go. So,
Yeah.
I picked a city, right? So,
Sure,
yeah,
great.
so I think that's it.
Yeah. But see, you've got so many ED numbers at the bottom. So once
Yeah.
you fill in a house number and a street number,
Yeah,
whatever it is, go ahead and pick one.
yeah, let me see, La Panne. This is the area, okay,
Okay. Now, whoa, don't go down too far.
okay,
See the red line? You've got a lot of EDs there. You've got at least what, 15 or 20?
yeah,
And the red line says you can reduce the number of EDs by selecting cross streets. So click on See Google Map
oh,
over the
okay,
right-hand box.
okay. All right, I kind of knew the cross street I was gonna pick.
Okay, and you can
Uh,
go ahead, you can pick the cross streets and it'll narrow it down to one ED area for where you are. So,
Oh, okay. So, So if I pick, so at any rate, this is not an interactive map. I have to go back, right?
It will be, yeah, you have to go back.
Yeah,
As soon as you know what your cross streets are, you can go back and put them
Right.
in the,
right,
put them in there. So,
right.
yeah,
So-
right.
So if I pick, actually, if I pick 30, let's see, where's 38th? Yeah. Let's see, 38th.
38th or 38th Avenue, right? And then
Yeah.
pick a cross street or, oh, now you're down to one already.
I'm just down
Okay.
to one, yeah.
Yeah, and click on that one.
Yeah, and then it says it won't be available till April 1st.
Right, but it gives you a link so that you can
Yes,
come back
yes.
to this and actually type in the link.
Yeah, so
At
if
the
you,
top of the page, right
so,
there.
so, right, so if you, I think if you bookmark this URL, you can probably go right back to it.
Yeah,
I'm
and I
thinking.
made myself an Excel chart that has
Oh,
my
that's smart.
people and the EDs and the links.
Wow, smart. Very good.
So I'm hoping April the 1st, 12:05, I'll be busy.
I bet.
So
Great tip. Thank you very much, Janet. Wow,
you're welcome.
that's great. That's, yeah, that's what this is for, is to get trade our knowledge amongst ourselves. It gives us. Cool. Okay, folks. Well, I guess it's just about, well, we have a little bit of time. Anybody else have anything they want to add or to the group? Otherwise, we can go out and enjoy the day we're all experiencing wherever we are. Seems to be sunny here in Brattleboro. Don some skis, get out and do a little skiing or walking or whatever.
Jerry or Wayne, is there a free adoption site?
A site about for adoption? Boy,
We didn't hear you, Rhonda. Can you say it again?
what do you,
I said, is there a site that can look up a legal adoption? I was adopted as a kid and I'm not getting anything from Mass. So I'm wondering if there's a site that I could look it up on.
There's some Facebook groups that could help guide you, I think.
Would you know one?
Well, not offhand, but let me just see if I bookmarked anything real quick here. Or if anybody else has any ideas.
well, but Rhonda, you know where you were adopted, right?
Right.
I know where I was born, but I don't know if it was totally in Greenfield or Brattleboro I got adopted by. That's the problem. I don't know.
All right, here's
Um,
something you should look at, Rhonda. It's called the Adoption Rights Law Center. And I'll put the link in the, I did bookmark this, and this might be, something you might want to investigate. Because I think you're running into a brick wall. Adoption records are sealed in many states. So,
Oh, shoot, I didn't get the
yeah.
whole thing.
yeah, you have to, sometimes you have to hire an attorney.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll never
to
get
to
anything
get
out of
access.
it.
But there are, just look at that site, read it over and see what they
Oh.
suggest, especially because they have links to the state, each of the states. So,
Okay, could you send me that site?
yeah, it's in the chat. Just click on
Oh.
it in the chat and then, bookmark it.
Okay, well, if you
You
send
might
it to
check
me,
with
I
the-
know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get it in chat.
Yeah, okay, well, we can send that to you.
If you click on the little link down on the bottom of your screen, it says chat. If you click there, it should open up the chat box.
Oh, boy. I don't see where that is here.
Well, we'll send you the link. That's okay, Rhonda.
Yeah, because I don't see chat on the bottom of my page here.
Yeah, depends on what are you using? Are you using a iPad or something, or?
It's a Dell computer.
Oh, it's a Dell?
Yeah.
It should all be the same.
Rhonda, you might just check with, I mean, you've narrowed it down to either Greenfield or Brattleboro, so you could check with
Yeah.
the town, check with the town clerks in those two places and see what they have for records. I don't remember where things stand. As Jerry said, some of those records have been sealed, but even New York State, which was really strict, opened up their records. So
New York is horrible. I mean, we can't even get my wife's father's birth record, even though she can prove she's the daughter with a birth certificate.
Really? They wouldn't
Yeah.
give you that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think after this year, we might be able to, because he was born in 22, so it'll be 100 years. But yeah, they're just like
Huh.
really,
Yeah, they're
Tough.
difficult for sure.
yeah.
But they just recently opened up records so that you could get your adoptees could get their original birth certificate. Doesn't always help a whole lot because,
Yeah,
I mean, the original certificate should name the mother. It doesn't necessarily name the father. So.
right. If they know who it is, you know.
But I don't know where things stand with Vermont and Massachusetts.
Due to this pandemonium, everything's just a freeze up right now. They don't want to do much of nothing.
Yeah, that
You
is.
could, the other thing you could try is Facebook. I mean, there are Facebook groups for adoptees.
Yeah, I know they're,
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
happen to know the names of them, but if you just search, maybe just search on Facebook for adoption or adoption records or something like that.
yeah, they're,
should come
yeah,
Okay.
pick one that has a lot of members to it, because then you'll know that, you'll get probably some answers.
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah,
Want to go to a different matter? It's just
Sure.
Social Security records. I recently got some for my missing grandfather. So it took a while because I had to document that I was actually related to this grandfather. But finally it came through.
this is the SS5 you got, Michael?
Well, it was actually not the SS, it was actually a printout of the 2 quarters worth of
Oh,
data that they have on
yeah.
file.
We were looking for
From
that, I
the
remember.
From the 1930s.
Yeah,
So I did have a document already about him getting a Social Security number in
right.
1936. And so I sent a request to the Social Security Administration for any records to doing with that Social Security number. And they wouldn't give it at first. I had to establish, I had a right to it. And of course, the tricky thing is he disappeared, so there was no death records
Right.
for him.
Right.
But they accepted the fact that, if he were still living, he'd be 137 today. So they finally accepted that. So I finally did get information back from the Social Security Administration. And I paid $92, but it's not terrible, but not great. So I have a little bit more information about him, but not
Now,
much.
that's an interesting case. Where was he working?
He was working in New Jersey.
Okay, as we thought, we were thinking he might have been in Philadelphia too, right?
Right. And so it has the actual company they worked for. So it's actually 2 quarters worth of data in 1937 and nothing for 1938 or 1939 or afterward when he disappeared. So,
Wow. Well, maybe he died.
yeah, I mean, that's
but-
one indication. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the company,
Record- Sorry, Jerry, go on.
no, you go ahead. Sorry.
What records did you have to show Michael for them to accept as proof?
Well, just to show that I think it was my birth record, but also a relationship to my mother and her relationship to her father. So it was just sort of regular, nothing out of the ordinary, but just to show there was a relationship there.
Yeah, I'm having to do that now for my application for dual citizenship. I'm applying to be a Italian citizen. And I have to I have to prove all of these linkages, between me, my father, my mother. And then all the documents sort of have to have the same names, and a lot of them don't. So
Mhm.
at any rate, it's going to be fun. So is that company still around,
I haven't researched that yet. Don't know.
Yeah. They probably wouldn't have any
Question.
records, but yeah.
Did you say, were you able to get the application that he must have filled out for Social Security?
Oh, well, I have the original document of when he was given the social security number. I had that already, so I didn't have to
Oh, I see.
try to find that. Yeah. And it was, I think his parents were witness to the social security registration.
So the other thing are tax records.
Uh-huh.
If they're, the state of New Jersey, tax records, whether it be in the New Jersey State Archives or
Uh-huh.
I think we contracted with somebody down there, right, to get some information, as I remember.
Yeah, well, you did. I mean,
Yeah.
I hired you, and you contracted with somebody. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. That's a possibility if you look at the New Jersey State Archives website and see if there's a collection there.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. They might destroy them going back that far, but there's certainly there could have been some federal tax records as well. But presumably, if there was a federal estate tax, you'd have some Social Security as well. But I mean, if he was like paying tax, maybe just working and paying taxes, but not contributing to Social Security somehow.
Yeah.
You mentioned 1939. The 1940 census asks people what they made in the year 1939.
Yeah, he's not in any 40 census that we could find.
You couldn't find
He
it.
really did. We were like looking for all sorts of missing person. We did have like once a fireman that sort of fit his description, but
But remember how that fireman was actually not it was actually a person stoking the boiler on
yeah,
trains. That was the description of fireman back then,
right, yeah.
which he would have been a little old to do, probably.
Yeah, I think we were checking, criminal records as well.
Mhm.
If he had been arrested or he was in prison anyway. I mean, everything turned out. But it's like any kind of this research. You go back over the territory, and you never know what becomes available 2 or 3 years after you've done your research. New collections that get digitized or
Mhm.
indexed or whatever. Yeah, there's some people who specialize in forensic genealogy. In fact, there's a person in the state who's really, she has a business. She has like 8 or 9 genealogists she employs to do specific. They do a lot of the repatriation of military remains, and do that sort of work with DNA as well. But
The state of New Jersey, are you talking
well,
about?
they do all over. They do it all over. Yeah. If you're interested, I could send you a link.
Sure.
Yeah. Her name is Catherine Damaris. But it's like Stone Church or something. I'll send you a link.
Well, shall we?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's I
goodbye.
guess we should say goodbye. Just about noon. And so if you have any follow-up questions you want to ask, go ahead and use that Windham County gig gmail.com address. We'll have this up on the YouTube channel if you want to review it again, probably sometime next week. And then it looks like April 2nd will be our next meeting.
Jerry, are you planning to put you put this your
Yeah,
sources in chat, but
I
don't
did.
you usually add that to the
Yeah,
along with the video?
yes, I will. Or I'll when the video's ready and I send out a link, I'll send that as well. So you have it as an attachment. Yeah. Cool. So and if you know if you have a YouTube account, you could subscribe to our channel and then click on the little bell. And that way, when we do upload the video, you'll be notified when it's available. But I'll send out an email anyway.
Everybody on YouTube likes to have you subscribe and
That's right.
click the bell.
So far, there've been no ads. They probably think we're so low
Oh,
profile.
is that right? Oh,
Yeah, I've never seen
all
an
right,
ad. On
that's
it.
good.
It helps to be small and not looked at, I guess. Okay, folks.
All right.
Until next time. Thanks for coming.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.